time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Robinson.
Here.
Master Barger. Here. Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Bakken.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite James Atherton from College Hill United Methodist Church up to lead us in word of prayer. And I think you preach a little bit in Doylesville too, don't you?
I do. I bring you greetings from College Hill and Doylesville. I get to wear a couple of different hats. I also get to be the president of our Richmond Area Ministerial Association. And then I also represent an organization called City for the Nations. And just wanted to kind of take a point of privilege, just give you a little bit of update of what we do, because I get to be the pastor of a small rural church here in Madison County, but God is just doing great things. It's a privilege to get to be able to live in a place like we do in Madison County, and God's using us locally and in our state, but also our nation and world. And about 4 years ago, we formed a partnership with City for the Nations with the nation of Niger in Africa. It was our hope and goal to reach out to people groups that live in that nation who are what we call unengaged. There's no groups working with these people groups. There's no mission agencies. There's nobody. These groups are what's known as some of the most remote locations in the world, in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Again, just very remote. We identified 7 of those unengaged people groups there. We formed partnerships with churches in the Madison County area and in the Somerset-Pulaski County area, as well as in Fayette County, and then in some other places in our nation. We worked with churches in Niger, which very small, not like in Madison County. We might have as many churches in Madison County as they have all in Niger, maybe, And we worked with them to help them be able to reach out to people in their nation. And since that time, over 14,000 people have come to Christ in that nation. Over 42 churches have been started amongst those people groups. But what we're talking about is that we encourage, we provide resources, training, and other help for the church that exists in Niger to be able to impact the people groups in their own nation. I usually go to Niger about twice a year, and I'm now scheduled to go there again in September. We also partner with other organizations. We partnered with an organization called Activate Global that helps people in nations like that to start businesses. And so all of our church planters and others have been trained in being able to start micro and small businesses and finance to be able to do so that they become self-sufficient and self-sustaining. We partner with an organization called Joshua Nations that starts Bible schools, and we've been able to start 3 Bible schools so far within that nation. We partnered with Samaritan's Purse, an organization that maybe some of you've heard of. We've distributed hundreds of animals to farmers. We've dug 6 wells with Samaritan's Purse. All kinds of aid and other help has happened. And all of that started out of just some small rural churches here in Madison County and partnering with City for the Nations. I just feel very privileged. It just seems that God is always doing more than we ever expected or imagined, and we're just very grateful to be a part of that, and just want to continue to share that with other citizens here so that they can pray, know about it, and be a part of it. Again, it's not so much about us going, what we're doing, we're supporting what's happening there out of the things that happens here. We've also had the privilege of having people visit here in Madison County from Niger in our partnership and see what's happening here, and we just hope that this partnership will continue to grow amongst the churches and places here. Just God doing fantastic things all over.
Amen.
So again, I bring you greetings, and we're going to start with prayer. Thank you. Lord God, we thank you for Judge Taylor. We thank you for our magistrates, our clerk, and others that are here today, and just for the privilege of being able to live in Madison County and work and do our business here. We pray over just the business of this fiscal court today, God. We pray for wisdom for our judge executive and magistrates, Lord, and the decisions that they make. Give them wisdom and revelation. Help them to be able to manage the resources of our county well, Lord. We pray for the needs of our county, for everything from emergency responses, Lord, to education, everything else that's encompassed within all of this, Lord God. We ask that you would help us in all that we do, where we pray that our county would continue to be just a tremendous place to live as it grows as the resources continue to grow, the people grow. Help us to be able to manage that growth. Help us to be able to respond to the needs of our citizens, Lord God. Again, we ask that you would guide this meeting, that you would bless it, and we're just very grateful for the privilege of being able to live here and all that we get to experience. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thanks, buddy. Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
Everybody would please stand and place your flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. Please be seated.
Appreciate you, Sheriff. Members of the court, y'all have had a chance to look over our previous fiscal court meeting minutes that was on June the 14th. I need a motion and a second to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes as approved, Judge, as provided to us, I'm sorry.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckton?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is our fourth Tuesday meeting, so we have our treasurer's report. Good morning, Glenna.
Good morning. On your Dropbox, you'll have your report with a total fund balance of all funds of $24,216,521.41. As of May the 31st, 2022, our revenues in the general fund are at 114.9%. Our expenditures are at 44.1%. Our road fund revenues are at 81.8%, and our expenditures are at 88.1%. Our jail fund, our revenues are at 87.5%, and our expenditures are at 87.9%. Our LGA fund, our revenues are at 120%, our expenditures are at 46.7%. CSEP fund revenues are at 18.6%, our expenditures are at 19.5%. Our 911 fund revenues are at 89.2%, our expenditures are at 70.7%. And our health fund is revenues are at 89.3%, our expenditures are at 76.8%. I did talk to our auditors just the other day, and they're getting ready the state's getting ready to release our June 30, 2021 audit.
What was the revenues on the health account? Tell me that again.
Health account was 89.3%, and our expenditures are 76.8%.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about the claims or anything?
Well, I noticed that on the road fund, the expenditures were a little exceeding the revenue, but you told me that the FEMA is behind on some of their payments.
Yes, FEMA owes us from the 2019 ice and flood that we had then. They owe us about $350,000. It's not unusual for FEMA to take a long time. Last time we had a FEMA payment, it was 4 years after the disaster. So, but we've been working on it. Hopefully we'll get paid in the next couple months. Also, we did a bike path project with the state. They still owe us $36,000 on it. We also have some discretionary funds that we have finished the project, and the state owes us $160,000 that should be coming in any day in the next week or two.
So that will offset the.
Yes, that will bring our revenues up
Mhm.
once we get
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none. Thanks, Glenn. Next is a proclamation proclaiming it a special day for someone that we're very proud of. Whereas Victoria Binge was hired as the executive director of CASA of Madison County in 2018, and since that time she has taken significant actions to expand CASA of Madison and Clark counties while increasing donations by over 1,000%. And whereas CASA of Madison and Clark counties is a local nonprofit that advocates for a safe, permanent, and nurturing home for abused, neglected, and dependent children as assigned within the court system. And whereas under Victoria's leadership, CASA of Madison and Clark counties has expanded into Clark County, growing from 5 to 82 volunteers and 8 to 150 children served. And whereas Victoria was named Kappa Alpha Theta Program Director of the Year by the National Court Appointed Special Advocate Guardian Ad Litem, well, that's a mouthful, Association for Children at the National CASA Gals 2022 Annual Conference. And whereas we are so proud of Victoria that she has created a trust CASA program through professionalism, respect, and a willingness to serve. Now therefore I, Reagan Taylor, Madison County Judge Executive in the Madison County Fiscal Court, do hereby proclaim June 28th, 2022 as Victoria Benj Day in recognition of her accomplishments, leadership, dedication, and service to our citizens and CASA of Madison and Clark counties, having been named National Program Director of the Year. It's pretty awesome. I'm very proud of you. Come up. You've never been shy on a microphone.
Throwing me off.
Yeah. Let's take a picture and then I'll let you. Court Mayor, let you picture. Yeah. I don't know where to look. Good. Thank you. The mic's all yours. Keep them donations coming in. Yeah.
Well, I don't really know what to say. I'm a bit taken back, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. None of this would be possible at all without my team of volunteers, staff, board members, just supporters. I cannot thank the fiscal court enough for your support over the years. We started really rough and we've come a long way, so I appreciate everything. And anybody who wants to be a volunteer or get involved, we need volunteers. We're only serving 23% of the kids in Madison County. And we have our big event coming up August 6th is the Superhero Gala. So we need support, and just come out and support these kids because they need people.
What's your phone number?
859-353-8608. And my email is victoria@madisoncasa.org.
And let's recognize those that are here today with CASA. Y'all will stand.
And we have our four staff, all four of us are here, and a board member and a former board member, a board president, and then a handful of volunteers. And I appreciate you all so much for coming out and surprising me more than I can even begin to describe.
Thanks, proud of you.
Thank you.
It's good on you. And you all are welcome to stay for a fiscal court meeting. But I also know everybody's busy, so yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's good stuff. Next on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 2022-07. This is our fiscal court budget for 2022-2023 fiscal year. Glenn?
Yes. There were no changes between the first reading and the second reading. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the administration of the county budget, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has reviewed the proposed 2022-2023 fiscal court budget, and whereas the county treasurer has reviewed the budget to ensure sound financial practices, now therefore be it ordained by the fiscal court of the county of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, does hereby approve the proposed 2022-2023 fiscal court budget. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption.
Thank you, Glenna. Y'all have heard the second reading of ordinance 2022-07. I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion today?
We've got a big budget this year. And I'm glad to see our revenues. We're at almost $100 million revenue. So we've got a lot of work to do. It's a good budget.
About half of that is CSEP money.
Yeah, 39 million of it's
It is.
CSEP.
So we're gonna lose that in about 2 or 3 years, so we only get to manage some of that through some of the projects that CSEP does, so we're kind of the overseer on that funding. But we do have a large budget, but we have a lot of projects that we take care of and a lot of business we're responsible for, so. I think Glenn does a great job as treasurer, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this time of year is always a busy time of year, but I appreciate Glenn and our finance staff. I appreciate all of our department heads. We all come together and try to really be efficient with taxpayer dollars and to protect the taxpayer assets. So I want to thank all those that are involved in preparing our budget. So, any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Watkins?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn. You're up next too, aren't you?
Yes.
Again. Next, Resolution 2022-84. This is the treasurer's request for pre-approved claims and transfers.
We do this every year. It's to approve from their last court until the end of the fiscal year. Anything that might come up that needs to come out of this fiscal year, we can go ahead and pay those, and then at the first court in July, I'll give you all a statement that shows anything that we've paid during that time period. A resolution for the Madison County Fiscal Court to approve the treasurer's request for pre-approve the claims and transfers, whereas the Madison County Treasurer is requesting the pre-approval of claims and transfers through June 30th, 2022. Whereas the Madison County Treasurer will provide a detailed list of claims and transfers paid through June 30, 2022. Whereas the auditor requires action to be taken by the Madison County Fiscal Court to allow a change in the approval schedule. And whereas the change will positively impact the citizens of Madison County and vendors by allowing the fiscal court to pay any claims due for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby pre-approve the claims and transfers through June 30th, 2022, and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Glenna. Y'all heard Resolution 2022-84. I need a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-84.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
We're just 2 days away, Glenn, so.
Yes, it's not a very long period this
Yeah.
time. Sometimes it's up to a week, but.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Watkins?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. And before we move forward, I want to back up to the second reading of the ordinance. I did not ask. A second reading is always a public hearing. Was there anybody here that wanted to speak on behalf of our second reading of our budget for this next fiscal year? All right, seeing none, just, Kenny, if we can, just make sure the minutes reflect that.
Okay.
So, thank you. Next, Resolution 2022-85. This is the Madison County Sheriff's 2021 local tax settlement. And it looks like it does. It says Mike Cole.
I know.
But you don't look like Mike Cole.
I know, I tried, I really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it's good to have you, Mary Margaret.
Thank you. You all should have copies of our final settlement in front of you. Had a few glitches. This isn't the first time our GUTS program has, the commissions have gotten switched on, and it's always health and ambulance. I do not know why, but it always is. And ambulance is supposed to be 4.0, and health is supposed to be 4.25. So they got switched, so health had to give us back money, and we have to give ambulance money. Watershed, nothing was held out of watershed, another glitch. He says he straightened it up. Hopefully we have. And then the sheriff's reports down here, that was my error. I have to manually add additional taxes. I did, those few months I did do additional taxes, but I forgot to subtract off the refunds, which I have to do manually. So those were my errors. But if you can see at the bottom, those are the rounding numbers. That's what we ended up. We collected $59,802,054.77. We had 36,774 tax bills, and just a little over $1 million went delinquent, which is good for us. So, but I don't have a copy of the resolution I'm supposed to read.
Would you like me to read it?
Would you read it?
I will. A resolution to approve the 2021 Madison County Sheriff's Local Tax Settlement. Whereas the Madison County Sheriff's Department collected $59,802,054.77 in taxes for the county in 2021. And whereas the Madison County Sheriff's Department disperses payments to all districts within the county. And whereas the Madison County Sheriff's Local Tax Settlement is prepared annually to allow state auditors to audit the Madison County Sheriff's Department's books, which is attached here to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-85, Judge.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mayor Martin, do you have anything else to add?
Nope.
I can see you're gonna have to just tighten up over a little bit, Mary Margaret, because out of $59 million, it looks like
You're
on
off
the bottom
13
line,
cents.
you're off 86 cents, basically.
Well, you know,
All right, well, we gotta find that.
I
Good job.
looked.
Thank you very much.
You did. Okay, thank you.
It's great.
And I think too, it's important to make sure that, you know, a lot of times, people don't understand, you know, how the tax structures and all that work, but, you know, this $59 million is collected for all the different taxing districts. That even includes the state's portion, correct?
Yes.
When you get your tax bill, you know, in the year, there's 7 different entities that are on that tax bill that the sheriff is collecting taxes for. And some might have more than that because I think we have like a red lick watershed, and so some people that live in that area might have an additional district on their tax bill, but the majority of the people have 7, and that's the school, the state, the county, ambulance, health department, library,
conservation.
and extension. Yeah, extension. You know, like when our resolution says it collected for the county, that's all the different taxing districts. So, all right. Any other comments or questions?
Just to follow up what you said, Judge, it's always interesting whenever you look at it and you look at the breakdown of it, that the county, I'm talking about the fiscal court, basically deals with, in this case, total charges $5.2 million. When you look in proportion to what everyone else of the other different taxing districts are, libraries 3.5, ambulance 3 million, schools 38 million. I mean, there's just, when you see that tax bill, it's not all coming to the fiscal court,
Yeah.
that's for sure. We're dealing with a small portion of that money to run basically all of the county services. That's right.
All right. Hearing no other questions or comments, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2022-86. This is the Detention Center Roadside Inmate Work Crews, MOA. A resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and the Madison County Detention Center for Roadside Inmate Work Crews. Whereas the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and Madison County Detention Center wish to establish an agreement for roadside inmate work crews. And whereas KYTC will pay the county jail $5 per day per inmate for meals while performing road maintenance on the roadside crew, KYTC will pay $15 per hour plus benefits for the officer providing inmate supervision for each day the inmate crew performs work. KYTC shall reimburse mileage at the rate determined by the Finance Cabinet unless KYTC provides a vehicle for transporting inmates. And whereas the term, this initial MOA is effective from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2024, which is attached here to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee and the Madison County jailer to execute same on behalf of the county. Do I have a motion and a second to approve 2022-86?
Motion to approve resolution 2022-86.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So this is for a 1 5-man crew, correct, Judge?
Yes.
Is there any opportunity to add a second crew at some point in time over the next 2 years, since that's a 2-year contract?
There is, if there is a need, I think that would come from, my experience with some of those questions, or when we've done this in the past, if the transportation cabinet needs a second crew, I think that would definitely be something that they would be willing to do, and as long as Steve is willing to provide
We're
that.
a little bit limited, Tom, in our ability to furnish that many inmates that are approved to do that kind of work. Those are state inmates and they're classified at level 1, and quite honestly, those are pretty hard to come by.
Okay. Well, it's a good program that we've been missing over the years, and of course, the jailer has been willing to help us out with the county crew to keep most of the areas in fair shape. But I talked to Brandon this morning about it, and he's like, it's a year that will be nonstop.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think it accounted for 260 days basically. But that's off the winter months, obviously, but still, that's going to be a big impact when you go around the county and you see roads and trash everywhere. State highways, a lot of them are covered up. I've got several calls in the last few days over that, and so we're glad to see this go through and get a crew back out there working again.
One of the challenges too, to Steve's point, is that, where we're so overcrowded with, county inmates, we don't get to keep as many state inmates, because we just don't have the room for them, so.
Right.
That would make probably a second crew a little bit more challenging as well.
A little bit, but I think we could swing it, but
Yeah.
as those inmates, it's certainly the classification level was really hard to come by.
Yeah.
Steve, do you have a number that people can request trash pickup on certain roads or certain
Yes,
areas?
there's more than welcome to call the jail, 624-4710. And we will dispatch a crew out to wherever the need is.
Okay, appreciate it. I always got people asking, who do we contact? So just contact the jail.
Yeah.
And this crew, just to make sure everybody understands, this crew will be getting their job duties from the transportation cabinet,
They will.
from Brandon McIntosh,
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So.
Well, what it's gonna do with the county is where we kinda hit and miss, quite honestly. It's hard for me to put a deputy out every day. This will absolutely put a crew on the roads every day. And, the state will make out because they're getting basically three laborers for the price of one. County makes out because we're gonna get our roads picked up and much cleaner. And actually, the inmates, there's a benefit to them because they're gonna get state credit for the work.
It's good. It's a good program. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2022-87, Madison County Information Technology Services Agreement for 2022-2023.
Good morning. A resolution authorizing signature of the 2022-2023 Madison County Information Technology Service Agreements, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is providing IT services and desires to sign contractual agreements for those services with the following: Madison County 911, Madison County Clerk's Office, Madison County Detention Center, Madison County Sheriff's Office, Madison County Attorney's Office, Kirksville Water Association, Madison County Utility District, Madison County PVA, Madison County EMS, and the Southern Madison Water District. And whereas these contracts shall be certified for necessary IT service, billable every 12 months, and whereas the terms of this contract are from July 1st, 2022 through June 30, 2023, and whereas service under these agreements, with the exception of emergency service, shall be performed within standard county work hours and will be completed by an employee of the IT department. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Chris. Y'all have heard Resolution 2022-87. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Well, everybody's used to this by now. We've been doing this.
That was easy.
Yep. For quite a few years now. So appreciate all the work, Chris, you and your team do in working with all of our different departments, elected officials, offices.
Thank you, and we appreciate those folks for letting us work with them.
All right.
I'd like to say
Sure.
something real quick. I don't think people understand that Chris is not running a business, but Chris does things that bring in revenue that helps pay for the service he provides to the fiscal court and things that he must do, like work with our office and water districts, things like that. He brings in revenue that helps him break even on his employees, which provides a service for me that I could not ever dream to afford the kind of service that Chris provides us. And then you guys get his service for free.
Right.
It's
a good business
win-win.
model.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hard to find in the government.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It needs to get contagious.
Judge, I've said this before, and Chris is standing there, he's probably gonna turn red, but we have one of the best IT persons in the state of Kentucky, and we're proud to have him because he's always working with all of our departments. He's always keeping up with the newest technology and providing that information that we can save money through different situations, and he works hard at what he does. And glad to have you, Chris.
Thanks, John, appreciate that. I would just add that we have an exceptional team, not just me.
Yeah, just their innovation. I mean, I think about the road tracks. I've mentioned this to Scott, a road supervisor, many times. I mean, who would have ever thought that our assistant foreman would be working off iPads
Yep.
in our road track system? And I don't know if y'all have actually seen it. I don't know if any of the masters have seen it yet, but it's outstanding. So efficient. It just makes our life a lot easier in the road department. I mean, they used to log everything in a book.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a lot better writing in a notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that transition with those folks that they always don't want to do that. Scott's not looking up. They don't want to participate in it. You want me to use a computer, right? And then all of a sudden when that computer doesn't work, they're knocking on your door like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you, right? And they're calling me in the middle of the night or in the morning trying to get it working. So it is cool to see them utilize that technology and to let us kind of be that force to push them forward. And, you know, we're fortunate that we can build those systems. Systems like that, Scott will tell you, either can't find it or they're very, very, very expensive. So hopefully there's some more to come with that here in a couple months.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, I think also, you know, what Chris and his team do, you know, for the county is outstanding, and I think that, you know, sometimes that we forget that the work that they're doing behind the scenes to make sure that our servers are clean of virus and we're not getting hacked and, you know, that kind of stuff that would shut us down, and ransomware, whatever the other cases may be. And I'm sure that Chris can give you the numbers and tell you how many times those servers are pinged by outside sources trying to, you know, get into our secure network. So, you know, sometimes we forget about that as well, and I wanted to bring it up and thank you and your team for what you do to keep, you know, our IT system safe and sound. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know at one of the conferences a few years back, I don't know if Tom or John was sitting at the same table, but I got to tell them that, you know, we had a system that we could track our truck when they was out. They couldn't fantasize that we could do that. You know, they said, yeah. How you do that? And I said, I don't know.
Don't tell
It's real
them.
easy. You tell Chris you want it done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all are different tracks. I mean, you're talking about our snow tracks,
Right.
you know, system. You know, we have road tracks.
Animal
Like we're
tracks.
working on animal tracks.
Business tracks.
Yeah. So it's
The
good
whole
stuff.
suite now.
Chris, would you be willing to maybe have some up-to-date lessons every once in a while so we can all keep up with some new technology?
Yeah.
Every 6 months or whatever, just put a little class together, invite people in and share some new stuff that we may not be familiar with. And because I think, you know, myself and some of the other magistrates have trouble keeping up sometimes with some of the programs that are coming out.
Yeah, I think it'd be great for you guys to come in, you know, once or twice a year and see what we've developed and how the employees utilize it. It gives you a better understanding of how it works, and maybe will help you get through the process of telling your constituents of, you know,
Yeah.
what the best way to handle the situation or get in touch with us. It seems like every day we're adding something new. Jill calls and adds 42 things to my plate to do. Can we do this? Can we do this? And it's all about that serving the constituent, and how do we make it easier for them to get information to us? Because a lot of times we found ourselves filling out a paper form that gets put on somebody's desk that got moved to this folder that gets put on his door, and it's very time consuming, or it gets lost. We can't tell you where you're at in the process. Now that that's all electronic, you can call, you can submit online, we can tell you where you are in the process, and we can kind of keep track of you. And it really does make a difference when they feel like you're taking care of them and can tell them where they're at, instead of, you know, I don't know, I put it in his box, right? So we do have a lot of tools, and I think it's a good idea at some point
I
for you
appreciate
guys to
that.
sit down through it
Yeah.
and kind of see what those systems are and how they operate.
I'll be the first one there.
You got it. Happy to have you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Baca?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2022-88, Madison County Information Technology Telephone and Internet Services Contract. Chris?
A resolution authorizing signature of a telephone and internet service contract, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court telephone system has been in operation for 16 years, serves over 225 users in 15 departments or agencies in 12 facilities. Whereas the current hardware is in need of a refresh, the current contracts for telephone and internet services have expired. And whereas the county wishes to obtain current contracts for competitive pricing, upgraded enhancements matching today's market for telephone and internet services, and determine a telephone solution to reduce cost, upgrade hardware, and provide a scalable and robust solution to meet the needs of the county workforce. And whereas the county has received quotes from several companies for current telephone and internet services cost. And whereas the county has found Kinetic Business, Windstream, to have provided the most cost-effective and scalable solution to meet the needs of the county workforce. Now therefore be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Chris. Y'all heard Resolution 2022-88. I need a motion and a second, please.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-88.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Chris, you want to talk to us a little bit about
Yep.
what we found out in our
So
bids that we got?
we have done our due diligence here for quite a while. I've been working on this, I think, since probably December, trying to get this figured out and find out what the best solution for us was. Currently, we spend about $48,000 a year in telephone, internet, and maintaining that system for, like we talked about, it's about 15 departments or agencies. Again, this is a model where we are billing our agencies a much cheaper price than they would go to AT&T and get telephone service. Plus, they get us taking care of it for them. So that's another model where we make money to pay for a service, and we all pay a whole lot less than we would in the real world. So that system costs us about $48,000. The internet contract is up. It was on a 3-year agreement, and so was the telephone services. The FCC has put in, and I had this in the orders, but I took it out because I think it's just a lot of knowledge. They put in a decommissioning of what's called POTS lines, plain old telephone lines. What happens there is old analog lines that we don't use them except for elevators and alarm lines. We use PRIs for telephone communications, but those POTS lines that run our elevators and alarms are going up to $100 a line from $33. That's because the FCC has decommissioned them and said they're no longer useful technology. We're not going to do rate control on them. So these AT&Ts and Windstreams of the world to provide copper telephone lines for that service are going to raise the price come August. And at $60 a line increase, we have about 15 lines. So that's about $1,000 there, give or take, that our monthly bill would go up. So with all that kind of happening, we started looking at what the options were to upgrade the phone system, because 16 years is a long life cycle for any kind of technology, right? But we've been fortunate to be able to keep this thing running like we have. So we started looking at that, and CSEP was interested in post-CSEP about doing something with their phone system, because the one that they have there is very robust, it's very expensive to operate and maintain, and it's not something the county would want to keep post-CSEP. So we kind of collaborated, kind of figured out, because they're separate phone systems at this point. So if you want to call the OC, I can't dial an extension. I have to dial their phone number, which sometimes causes an issue with communication between employees or whatever. So we wanted to do one big system. And at that point, it was like, in this day and age, the cloud is the buzzword, right? We do a little bit of cloud. We have our own cloud, but we don't use a lot of other people's clouds. But in this situation, a cloud-hosted telephone solution is the right answer for this county. It prevents us from spending $80,000 to $150,000 on brand new hardware. It provides us with one big system that everybody can use. And it also allows those telephones to work from anywhere there's an internet connection. Right now, the system that we have requires a special connection from each facility back to this county building in order to have telephone service, which sometimes is a little bit of a pain, sometimes it's not, but it's worked. But this is just a better solution. And we learned during COVID that remote work is very important. With the current old system that we have, the remote phone was not the best. The phone would ring somebody's personal cell phone, and if they wanted to call back somebody, it called back with their personal number, and you're giving out your personal number to all kinds of people. So that was kind of an issue. So with all that being said, we're like, okay, we're gonna look at a cloud-hosted solution, let's figure it out. We got quotes from AT&T, we got quotes from Metronet, we got a quote from Avaya, which is Ring Central, and we got a quote from Windstream. And basically what it runs down to is you pay per extension per month. And if you look through here, I won't bore you with all the details because it is quite large. But with the Windstream contract, we can move up to a 2 gig internet connection with double the static IPs for less money, about $2,500 less per year. And we can move to a telephone solution that would cost $15,000 a year, which is about a $13,000 a year savings. We get rid of the call logging support, we get rid of maintenance and all of those kinds of things on the system. And then we take into account our POTS over LTE, which is how we will feed telephone service to our alarm lines and elevators, and bringing that cost to $6,000. So if we did nothing, if you just decided to stay where you were today, your price is going to increase to almost $59,000 from $48,000. So an $11,000 increase to keep what you have and just to keep it going because of that POTS loan. If we select this and we sign the contract today, we will move and double our internet speed that we're providing to our employees and our agencies, and we will reduce our cost about $12,000 a year. What we do is all that old equipment that's there, once we decommission and move away, it'll all get sold on Gov Deals, which will bring us some money because it's still usable equipment for some folks. And we probably have, between CSEP and us, probably 700 phones sitting around because CSEP has quite a few. If they all bring just a few dollars, that's some good money that we can bring back to help pay for it. But this system has no equipment on premise, and the phones are rented from Windstream. So we add a new extension as part of the monthly payment we're paying, which is about $3 a month per phone. They send us a brand new phone, we put it on the desk. So it's brand new, and we use it. If something happens to it, we call and say, hey, this isn't right. They send me a new one, I ship it back. No more of us buying hundreds of dollars of phones to keep them. And then the other part is with the workforce coming and going as it is, we have all this equipment that's sitting there and not getting used, and we're paying for it, right? In this model, if we lose 2 employees, we just shut the monthly service off and send the phone back, and it ends right there. So you're no longer paying for things sitting here. So it really keeps us very tight, keeps the cost down in control, and the POTS lines are going away anyway, so we have to do something about that, which will be a POTS over LTE. And we're looking at AT&T to provide that service to us. So I think that was a lot that I said. I'll just let you ask some questions and see what we can come up with there.
So,
And they're all done.
the only question I have is when you look at, I would assume the 5 different providers that,
Mhm.
that you and your team looked at, what is the cost, for the rented equipment, that we have through Windstream? Because when I look at, Windstream, there's no cost associated with it. It just says that it's rented. And then when I look at AT&T, it says that the cost for, I guess, buying all those phones and equipment's, almost $59,000.
So great catch. So AT&T would not do any sort of rented. It was purchased, lease to own.
Okay.
So you have to buy it up front and then lease it, and you can't even lease it through them. It would have to be a third-party lease, and it would be $59,000 to provide. This does not include CSEP. This is just the county and the agencies that we serve.
Right.
CSEP probably has $70,000 on their own worth of equipment. Now, CSEP will buy their own equipment because that's how they operate, and then at the end of that contract and CSEP's gone, we'll own those phones to put into the county repository, and maybe we won't have to lease some, or rent some from Windstream. But AT&T does not do the rented option. That's a Windstream, Metronet, and we didn't get phones from Spectrum.
Okay.
They don't provide the same kind of service.
Well, that kind of circles me back around to the question. So what is the rented cost?
$3 a month.
Okay. So.
That's
many-
actually $250. I lied to you.
Oh, well, that's okay. Okay.
So all in total, it's $3 for the service, $250 for the phone. So $550 per user per month.
Okay. And how many users do we have?
It's about 225.
Okay.
Now, some of those, county attorney has 15 or 16 of those, and the sheriff has 22, and I think Kenny's got 25 or 30. We got Madison Utilities that pays into that as well. That's got another 15 or 20. So when you look at those, that 225 seems awful big because the fiscal court doesn't have that many employees, but that does include all the other agencies that we bill to.
Right. And that's per month?
16, 17.
I have child support too.
Oh, yeah, well, that's separate. Yeah, child support is separate. That's another
Okay.
17.
Okay. So it's 230.
It's somewhere, yeah.
something.
I don't
Or
remember the
240
exact
something.
number.
Okay.
But this price you see at $1485.17 is tax included,
Okay.
because we calculated the taxes. The contract that you see does not include taxes because they don't do that, but we got a good number from them of what the tax would be. So the price you see here, the $2859.25 is the total monthly recurring with taxes.
And are you and your team comfortable with the, pro install, as it says, for free?
Yep, so what happens is instead of them sending people out here to walk around and put phones on desk, we do it, but then they're in a Zoom call or in my ear, hey, this isn't working, how do I make this work? How do I get Kenny's phone system to answer the way I want it to answer? Where AT&T, they come out and do it, and you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
That's where you see that
Almost 18 grand.
17,000. Yeah. So that, we don't like to, no offense to contractors, we don't like to use contractors, we'd rather do it ourselves. We find that when you do it yourself, you understand how it operates, you understand the pitfalls, and when something goes wrong, we then know how to fix it. If you bring a contractor in and they set all these things on the desk, we're gonna go, I don't know what they did, right? So this is a great option. They'll be in our ear when we're dropping phones, helping us work through the process. That's just another thing that I really liked about Windstream is there was no upfront cost to us. So we're gonna reduce our cost completely.
Right.
A lot of times we come in and reduce your cost, but we got an upfront cost to get there, right? This time it truly is just a cost savings across the board. That takes advantage of the contracts these folks signs with us for IT work. It allows them to utilize what they're already paying for us to come in and set things up and get it the way they want.
And when we look at it from a budgetary standpoint, is this yearly? Is this set for 5 years?
So this is a 36-month commitment.
Okay.
Now, it is a 36-month commitment to have service. So if Kenny decides to, I'm not gonna say, let's just say Kenny loses 10 people for some reason or doesn't need 10 people, we immediately cancel that. That's no void of the contract, and our monthly recurring drops to reflect the reduction of those 10.
Yeah, $50 or whatever.
Yep, whatever it may be.
Right.
Yep. All of the department heads and some of the elected officials will get what's called the advanced license, which allows them to be logged in on their cell phone and on their desk at the same time. That way, if you call their desk and they don't answer, it rings their cell phone. The benefit of this is in this system, when that rings your cell phone, it comes up in an app, and you're now operating on your phone on the county side of it, presenting as the county, whereas now in this current system, you would present as yourself. So you'd be able to text message behind your county telephone number, and you'd be able to call from that app behind the county telephone number. So if I'm out and about, right now it rings my phone, but if I were to call somebody back, it's gonna call back my cell phone number. When we move to this new system, I will pick that app up and I'll call you back, and it'll look like it's coming from Madison County IT, which is a huge benefit. The other real benefit for the county by staying with Windstream is we've been there, 16 years, because they got put in all at the same time. None of the numbers have to be ported away. If you go to AT&T or we move to MetroNet, all of these numbers have to be ported to those services, and if you've ever ported your cell phone number, it's very difficult, and we have hundreds and hundreds of numbers that have to be aligned, and the whole issue of trying to align that business by business and department by department to make sure that everybody doesn't lose phone service through the period is very, very difficult. AT&T wasn't even close when it comes to the pricing.
Right.
They're at $4,400 a month.
Yeah.
We're down to $2,800.
Chris,
So-
I appreciate the granular detail.
Absolutely.
On what this is, and I hope that, after 36 months that we can still maintain, some semblance of this particular price range going forward.
Yeah, and this pricing actually is GSA pricing.
Okay.
So we didn't really even have to go out to bid, or we didn't go out to bid. We didn't have to go get quotes or anything, because this is GSA pricing, but we did it anyways just to.
Yeah, we wanted to do our due diligence.
Just make sure we were
Yeah, absolutely.
comparing. So this is a good price. I don't see, in 3 years, the price will be different because everything is more expensive.
I understand that.
But, in 3 years, we'll know. And the great part about it is the 3 years you don't like it, guess what? We weren't out any money. We ship all those phones back. If I buy a $50,000 or $100,000 phone system, you're not gonna let me change it, right? Because I've spent a lot of money to get there, so.
Right. I get it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the
So,
questions.
I had some questions, and I called Chris last night, Judge, about the facilities and making sure everything matched up the way that they should, and the possibility of us being able to use all points integrated with some of this stuff later
Yep.
on. Got those answered, so.
Yep. Well, I think you can see how much Chris and his team, they did their due diligence in making sure that this was was the direction that the county needed to go, and I think you can see that and hear that today. And we're always looking to save money. How can we be more innovative? How can we be more efficient?
Sure.
And I think this shows how hard that our team, your team, works on a daily basis, on a yearly basis to make sure that these things can come to fruition. And this model that Kenny spoke about earlier, I mean, it's part of this conversation. It's part of, you know, being efficient, having somewhat of a business model internally in our IT department that where we can bill our different departments and agencies to lower and reduce our costs and still saving them money from Kenny or Jenny or Sheriff, Steve to have to go out and deal with AT&T or Spectrum or whoever on their own, you know. So it lumps it all under one umbrella and it's good for everybody.
We're expensive.
It pays the way.
IT is very expensive. That's just no way about it, especially like you spoke about with, you know, cyber.
That's right.
It's just a huge, and now all these insurance companies are requiring all these certain kind of steps, and one of those is put into the contracts with the new folks this year is dual factor authentication, where they got to log in. You guys are gonna have to deal with that. Back to your training. It's just one of those things that's coming down the pike to protect systems, so, and it all costs a lot of money.
But it's money well spent.
Absolutely, because one breach will cost you millions. So when we're talking about the thousands we spend, you know, in comparison, sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, but
Well, it's a necessary evil.
Absolutely.
And we have to have it.
Yep.
yep, we're well protected here.
Thank you. I think that, you know, where I, you know, outside of being a magistrate, you know, the company I work for, you know, I have to do, you know, dual authentication, you know, all the time.
Yep.
To get into various systems, and I know it's a hassle, but it's something that I feel better about knowing that it's secure, and my company knows that it's me that is actually logging into that, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It'll pop up on your phone and say, was that you? And if
Yes.
it wasn't you, you hit no, right?
That's
Because
right.
that's the fear, you know, that's why we do the 90-day password change that everybody hates, but it's just part of it. And I can't remember which iteration of the number I'm on. You know, we all have our systems to manage that. Passwords are easy to crack. It's happening faster and faster and faster every single day. Before long, our passwords have to be 85 characters long, right, to protect ourselves, which dual factor kind of helps you with that, because now you got to know the complex password, plus you got to have somebody on the other end. Yep, that's me. So that's a great tool that's coming to us here this next fiscal year, and just another step to protect our systems.
Absolutely.
Good stuff, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bakken,
Yes.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.
Chris,
Thank you.
Chris, I've got a question if you don't mind. before you
It is a
leave.
password change.
if my kids pooped there.
No, that's not that detailed. If you don't mind, give us a little update on the broadband internet service throughout the county. I'm getting all kinds of calls from people. Well, we live in a dead zone. We live on Hackett Pike. There's 15 houses in the middle, not getting service. Give us an update on
So
how that's.
Tom and I had this conversation late last night. Well, it wasn't late. Felt late.
He didn't
wasn't
share
that-
it with me,
It wasn't
so-
that late. So you saw the RDOF groundbreaking, which was 1,100 homes. That was Spectrum. That was federal dollars that were brought in. They're doing that. I have to say that Spectrum Charter has been a great partner so far in that aspect. We have sent many of emails and phone calls to them and said, hey, you're like next door. Why are you not getting that guy, right? And they'll say, oh, yep, you're right. We're sorry. And then they run the needed cable to get those people that are right there. Unfortunately, and I had to tell Jill and Robin this, there's a line. That RDOF has a road that it's coming to, and the people that live on that side of the road may get service, and the other side may not. That's just the reality of the situation. But what Spectrum did was they got the RDOF funds to do certain pocket areas. That was the 1,100 you saw the groundbreaking. Last week, the state announced the Kentucky Broadband Deployment Fund Award winners. Spectrum won a bunch of money there as well. It was like 13 counties maybe. Madison County was one of those. That is 1,247 more residents that will get internet from Spectrum. And what Spectrum did is they kind of dovetailed into their RDOF funds, the state funds. So they use federal dollars to build their network out to RDOF areas, and then they're gonna use their own money to tap into that and provide service to the people in the
On the other
surrounding-
side of the road, basically.
Basically on the other side of the road or neighboring. So they have been very forthcoming with helping us, like, nope, that's across the road, that's out of the scope, or yes, you're right, that's silly, why are we not providing that person internet? And they figure it out and they get it to them. So that's where we are with that. With that announcement, actually securing that additional 1,247, that allows All Points now to give us a low-level network design cost on just what we're gonna have to service. again, it's still gonna be hard because Kenny wasn't showing he was gonna be in an area, but there's fiber right out front of his house. We think it's Spectrum. They're building so fast and everywhere now, it's gonna be a struggle to keep up with where they're not. And that'll be part of All Points' mission, is to help us kind of keep identifying where these people have service and they don't.
Yeah, they've
So-
covered College Hill and Doolesville Road, Cane Springs, everywhere out there. They run fiber conduit out at Dead End Road in some places to get to house. I'm blown away by.
Yeah, and we have to be
Road.
careful to understand that when they use federal dollars or these state dollars to service unserved people, they can do nothing else with that infrastructure until the unserved people are served. Now, why is that important? That's important because they're gonna pass all kinds of people that are served, and they're gonna, why am I not getting it, right? You'll get it off of there eventually. The mission is, and what they have to do with the money is run that fiber to the unserved people. But it is being planned and put in place so that once the unserved people are served, they can back in and use that to serve everybody else. So at some point, like Tom's question last night was, is All Points ever gonna be an option that we could use for? Absolutely, because at some point, they will expand inward into the city. And they will provide those services to everybody, which provides another service provider into this county, which hopefully drives prices down.
So what about, we're talking about, what about those folks that live out in the county that are, let's say that they're underserved, as far as internet providers? So, an example would be, someone that lives out in Red Lick and they have internet. Yes, it's through Windstream. It's, like 5 gig, which, is not much bandwidth, right?
Yep.
And I'm curious, what about those people to come to fiber?
So unserved is considered 25 or less. So
Okay.
if they're at 5 meg, they'll be considered unserved, and they would be able to attach.
Okay.
So now that you've got solid notification that the RDOF funds, and they're actually building, and they were building before the groundbreaking, and they're just dovetailing right in their KDBF money, they're gonna knock out their 2,200, 2,300 homes fairly quickly. Now it's up on us as the county to finalize the agreement with All Points to get down to, I think it's gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 people that we will cover that are unserved, that Spectrum or AT&T have said we're not going to.
That is less than 25. By your definition.
25 meg or less or none, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
25.
And then, once that is met with those dollars, All Points can use that infrastructure to do whatever they want, which would then be to come back to you and say, well, you got 100 from AT&T, but you don't like it. Well, I'm here. So you can use All Points, right? Which then will hopefully drive that price down. And people like options, and that's why we picked All Points. Was not, we don't want Spectrum running the whole game. We didn't want Windstream running it. We didn't want AT&T, kind of the conglomerate, right? Now we're gonna bring in All Points that gives you another option.
Right.
So-
So the competition could be healthy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Chris, eventually, the people are somewhere in the middle on the road that have no service now will eventually get tied up.
Yeah. If they're in the middle, like if they got Spectrum on either side of them, they should be served.
Yeah.
I don't know what companies it is. I've got people on Concord Road, and people on Hackett Pike.
Well, now Concord, I actually looked into it the other day, just to use his example. Yes, Spectrum is on both ends of it.
Mhm.
They've never run it to the middle, and so it is part of, we looked it up the other day, and it's part of that KBDF.
So it is coming.
So it's coming. Yeah. The best thing to do is you can get online and fill out the citizen form and just ask your question. You can call the judge's office. They have all the tools to look and see exactly where Spectrum is. And if it's outside of the purview of what we can kind of determine is whether it's KDBF or RDOF or All Points, then we can, phone in a friend from Spectrum and, hey, what about this? And if it's a mistake, that, usually they own up and correct it, so.
And just throw a plug in too, Chris, for our, trying to get people to get on Connect Madison.
Yeah, because at last count, there were only about 600 people that had filled out that form from All Points. And some of the confusion is that when you go through there, it seems as though you're signing up to get service. That is not what it is. It's not binding you to any kind of contract. It's just saying when they do get service in your area, they'll notify you. But when you fill that address out and on that form, it's going to allow us to know that you need service or if you've already got service. It really starts to define the lines for us, because the last thing we want to do is go out here and somebody not get served.
It gives us factual data.
Absolutely,
Right.
because the FCC data, as everybody has said, is very, very bad. It's not factual. Most of the times it's overstated is what you end up finding is these people have internet, but they really don't, because they take the whole census block. But in reality, we all know that based on revenue, you didn't run down that road because there was only 2 people. But the census block has internet, even though that road doesn't. So Make sure if you don't have internet or you have sluggish internet or you don't like it, get onto the Madison County website, click Madison Connect, fill that form out, tell us whether you have internet, whether you don't, what you hate about it, what you like about it. The other thing is if you called Spectrum and said you wanted service, but they wanted to charge you $50,000 to run up your driveway,
Yes.
let us know that stuff, because that helps us negotiate with All Points to know, hey, we got 20 people out here that are 5,000 feet from the road. You gonna take care of them, or what are you gonna charge them, or what do we gotta pay to make up the difference to make sure that we get everybody served? Because the mission is, it doesn't matter how far you are off that road, we're coming to you.
Okay. Well, it wasn't 50, but it was 18.
18. I've heard, 50 to go onto the railroad tracks at Duncan. 18 to get to your house? Yeah.
Yes.
It's somewhere everywhere between 5 and 50 grand. Just depends. And a lot of times it's just pricing to get you to go away.
I mean, when we bring our final plan back to the fiscal court, I mean, we want it to be as close to accurate as we possibly can, and that was my fear, knowing that before and bringing it to the court was when you had this RDOF out here, you had the KBDF out here, we didn't really know how many properties, businesses, citizens that were really needed it, or we didn't have good information, and so we're really trying to get good information, factual data, so that when we present our plan, that we know what we'll be voting on.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we can all agree that, COVID, has added a level of complexity to this that, that we didn't realize at the time. Because when you look at, when COVID hit, we had, kids, trying to go to school from home, we had kids going to McDonald's parking lots, we had them going to Kentucky Farm Bureau, whatever, to download their assignments and that kind of stuff for those that are, underserved or not even served. So, I think it's, I've had all kinds of people in the southeastern end of the county that are asking me, when am I gonna get it, when am I gonna get it? So, I'm gonna point them towards, the Madison Connect, right?
Yep.
To fill that out, so, we have the data.
Yeah,
we
and I
get
would
lines on
say,
it, okay?
fill that form out regardless.
Cause I'm going to.
Yeah, you're not wasting our time by filling it out and saying you have service, because what that does is just helps us verify. And even if it's one person on a street or in a subdivision,
Right.
if one person has it, basically most of those people do, right? So please fill it out, whether you have it, you don't have it, whatever. It just helps us verify, because we do not want to leave anybody out. And the closer we can get to that number, the happier that guy will be.
Well,
When I give him a budget number.
I want to put in a plug too for the Reagan and the group that when we started this, because there's a sense of urgency from the judge's office to get this done, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure from you guys.
Yes.
But we could have gone in as a group and said, okay, whatever it costs, get us internet. Where would we be today? What was that number when we started?
49 million.
Households.
65.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the number of households. This is
The
down to
number-
3,000 now.
It was 6,800 people.
Yeah. We could have pulled the trigger in a week and said, do it, and spent millions and millions of dollars that we didn't have to spend instead of, Chris is the one that did all the legwork about studying this and figuring out what is actually going on here, and now we've found out that we're getting taken care of by somebody else. The internet's getting taken care of without us having to pay for it.
I told y'all he's
Yeah.
Yeah, the goal is to not spend any money.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully, I don't know that we'll spend $0, but we will get pretty close. Scott County is a great example, that their court committed some millions of dollars to do it because they said we want it done. They did it. Now they happen to get a few grant awards, which has put their spend actually to zero. So it is possible. I don't think in a county this size it will be zero. We might be close. It all depends on how fast those cycles. I don't remember how long KDBF has been going on. It's probably that first round, 8-10 months to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The problem is All Points' first model when they predicted to us was write a grant, wait for the grant, get the money, then move. Jill and I had a very frank conversation with them. That ain't gonna work here. We gotta go. So we've reached out to them and said, we need a different opportunity to do this. That may be committee money by the county or whatever it may be. We'll bring that to you once we get it figured out. But we're ready to roll. We're just waiting on the final numbers. And it really helps us now that KDBF has been defined.
Do we have some grant applications in for this?
We co-supported the one to KDBF. So
Spectrum.
Yeah, our support of Spectrum helped win that. It helped. I'll just say that. It helped push that one through and get it approved. They're ready. All Points will be who writes our grants. They have a former FCC commissioner their team. They know all the lingo, they know all the things to say, and they have been to the state at Frankfurt and talked to the legislators and helped develop what KDBF looks like now, and they've helped develop that board. So All Points has a pretty big influence in the state of Kentucky when it comes to grant funding, so that is good for us on that behalf. When they write those, they're gonna know exactly what, you know, the reviewers are looking for. So we will have grant funding. We have no idea how much or what kind of money we have to put in to match that, because sometimes it's 50-50. But All Points will always put in more money than us.
Yep.
So Chris, one more question about, you know, Madison Connect. Because I'm looking at it now, I would assume you then go to the lookup tool, and hit that and then punch in your stuff and go from there. I would assume if you're not your zone, then that gets added to the list
Exactly.
that you and your team get.
Yeah, and All Points gets all that data. So if you say you're served and you're happy, they get that. They'll put that on a map for us to see. If you're not served, that gets put on the map for us to see.
Or underserved or whatever.
Yep,
the
or
case
under.
may be.
Or, yeah, they'll come to me, but it's $10,000.
That's
And-
right.
And All Points is actually looking at that, the comments and everything. They're really doing a good job with that portion of it, to kind of keep up with those folks that are saying, I have it, but it costs so much to get there. They're the ones tracking all that for us. So they're really a great partner when it comes to kind of keeping up with who, what, where, when, and why. And we're gonna know when we lay this, you know, low-level network design down with them, where we gotta go and how we get there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I explain it,
Yep.
you know, to the folks.
You're doing exactly right.
And what
Correct.
it take less than 5 minutes?
Oh, yeah, it's like 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah.
Now, you can get really wordy if you want to, but, you know,
Okay.
we don't need that much detail.
Well, I'll gladly disseminate that information out. to
Absolutely.
a lot of
Yep, it's
folks
right on the
and-
front of the website there, or it's pinned on our Facebook page. You can just click that. So, you know, I don't want to challenge anybody. Let's get to 1,000. We were at 600 the last time I heard. So if we get to 1,000, that's super helpful. Again, it doesn't matter if you're served or unserved. Fill it out. It helps us.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thanks,
All right.
John. for bringing
Thanks,
it up.
So it's gonna be a short court meeting. I got up here and talk all day.
Yeah, you're not allowed back till next year.
First said I need to talk.
Resolution 2022-89, this is our salt bid award. Or Scott, Chris has been up there so long, I just called you Chris. Yeah.
Resolution 2022-89, a resolution for awarding Madison County Road Department de-icing road salt bid. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve of all bids in accordance with the administrative code. And whereas bids were for de-icing road salt, and whereas bid notices were properly posted and the bids have been opened and reviewed by the Madison County Road Department. And whereas the Madison County Road Department received 3 bids and has come to an agreement to award the bid to Morton Salt Incorporated for $102.04 per ton. Now therefore be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve the resolution and authorize the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Scott. You've heard resolution 2022-89. I need a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-89.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
There was 102.
102.04. And I will say that for the last several years, and Scott, you probably should articulate this,
Okay.
not me, but we participate in the KCO salt auction. And we kind of do both to make sure that we're getting the best deal that we possibly can get. So you want to kind of just talk about that?
Yeah, we have done both. This year, the KCO salt auction, our best bid was, come in at $121.26 per ton. So I thought that was pretty high, so we decided to rebid it out in our regular bid process. And, out of the 3 bids, the Morton Salt did come back at the 102. So that alone, if we do buy our 3,500 tons, that's typically what we've been buying. That's gonna be a savings to the county of $67,270.
How'd that price compare on last year's? I don't remember.
We paid $97.20, so.
It's not a huge jump.
Basically, we went
$5.
for a $5 increase, but we were gonna go to a $24 increase
Yeah.
per ton.
Good. Thanks, Scott. Again, that's doing our due diligence and making sure that we're protecting the taxpayer asset and spending money efficiently. Any comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is Resolution 2022-90. This is a Tax Assessment Board appointment. A resolution for the appointment of the Madison County Fiscal Court to the Madison County Tax Assessment Board. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison County Tax Assessment Board members. And whereas the Madison County Tax Assessment Board has a vacant board member position. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Will Sharp as fit for the position as a board member of the Tax Assessment Board. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Will Sharp as a Madison County Tax Assessment Board member.
Motion approved resolution 2022-90, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2022-91. This is the annual employee adjustments for 2022-2023. Morgan.
A resolution to adopt annual employee adjustments for 2022-2023, whereas the employee adjustments are updated annually and reflected in the approved classification schedule and fiscal court budget, and whereas the state establishes an annual cost of living recommendation based on the Consumer Price Index, CPI, currently at 7%, and whereas the national inflation trends are at a 40-year high and our employee compensation must adapt to the current financial climate, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court still struggles with recruiting and retaining employees within the classification schedule, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court wishes to adopt the annual employee adjustments for 2022-2023 to become effective the pay period beginning June 22nd, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution, authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Morgan. Y'all heard Resolution 2022-91. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Morgan.
Thank you.
Next is personnel in the golf course. Hi, Gary.
Morning.
How are you, buddy?
Good. Speed things up. Are all these okay? Good.
There you go.
All right, the first I have is Emma Farthing as a seasonal outside cart attendant, starting at $9.50 an hour, start date of 6/29.
Motion approved Emma Farthing, Judge, as seasonal outside cart attendant, $9.50 an hour, starting on 6/29.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
All right, next is Ashton Ward, seasonal grounds crew, $10.50 an hour, start date 6/28/2022.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve Ashton Ward?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to approve Ashton Ward, starting on 6/28 with a proposed salary of $10.50 an hour.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
And lastly is Adam Cole, seasonal grounds crew, $10.50 an hour, and I believe he's still pending background check.
Would you like to make a motion to hire Adam Cole for seasonal grounds crew, $10.50 an hour, starting date 6/29, pending his background check?
Good. Thank you. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Does this help us get closer to being fully staffed? We still,
Pretty much, we have a few that have quit the season. We have some that are going on vacation for 2 weeks. We have someone that just had minor surgery, so we're getting closer. For the grounds crew, these two that we just hired are high school seniors, so we might only have them for 6 or 7 weeks until school starts, but that's fine. We'll take what we can get at this point.
So how many more do you need?
Right now, on our grounds crew, we have 3 full-time, and with these 2 hires, that'll be 3 seasonal. For a golf course our size, we really need between 8 and 10 people on the grounds crew.
So you still have some open positions?
Yes.
Seasonal?
Seasonal, yes.
So if I send, who do I need to contact to send somebody?
They can apply online
Okay.
right at this moment.
I know somebody who's looking.
And the seasonal, the rules with seasonals, they can actually work 9 months in a year.
Right.
And so our.
Then they have to be off 3.
And they have to be off 3. And so our normal season ends in November.
March
right?
through the end of November.
Yeah, so.
And it is also possible with the high school students, we've had this once before, where they got into a program through the high school that they could continue to work after they were in school.
Yeah. Yeah. And they might have interest when they get out of school.
Right,
I guess
yes.
that evening, maybe there might be things they can do, so. All right, thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Next is.
I may send you one.
Next is Judge's Report. Today, I want to take a moment to recognize our Planning and Development Director, Bert Thomas. You're not here today because of a solar conversation. And his team, from training new employees, staff sickness, and increased business, all while being short-staffed, they have managed to continue getting their daily work completed, and most importantly, putting citizens first. Bert and his team are always willing to lend a helping hand, and we greatly appreciate each one of them. Thanks to Olivia Gooch for hanging in there, Elizabeth Cordell from our finance team for stepping up to assist and helping him when we've been short-staffed, and then Lauren Smith and Marty Sizemore for their continuous dedication to our county, to our citizens, and to our planning and codes department. So kudos to you, Bert. I know it's challenging. We've had a great year out in the county as far as building projects and new developments. And we just wanted to recognize you all today and thank you for your service, you and your team's service to our community.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Kentucky Organ Donor Donation Affiliates is hosting an Independence Day 5K on Saturday, July 2nd. So this coming Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Whitehall State Historic Site in Richmond. Visit runsignup.com to purchase tickets. So I ran the 5K a few weeks ago out at Whitehall. Right. And it is a great spot. It's a little challenging. Those hills can be a little tough for a guy that's out of shape, but it is a really great place to have a 5K, and our park and the Whitehall Shrine, everything is so pretty and beautiful. So anybody that's interested, it would be a good event and a good 5K. No, this guy didn't win our age group.
It's pretty competitive.
Yeah. But I did run faster without my wife running alongside of me. All right.
I don't know if I say that.
Yeah, I did run faster.
This is recorded, Judge. I don't know if I say that.
Yeah,
Judge, but,
yeah, she knows I love her. All right, the City of Berea's annual 4th of July Spectacular will be on Monday, July 4th, beginning at 6 p.m. at Berea City Park. It's always a great event down there in Berea on the 4th of July. There will also be free live performances by Rock of Ages, an 80s rock tribute. At 8 p.m., fireworks will begin at 10 p.m. Contact Berea Parks and Recreation for more details. Also, Richmond Independence Day Extravaganza will be Monday, July 4th at Lake Reba Recreational Complex. Gates will open at 4:30 p.m. and a live concert will begin at 5 p.m. Fireworks will begin at 10. There is a $5 parking fee, and for a complete schedule of events, please contact Richmond Parks and Recreation. The Berea Craft Festival will be Friday, July 8th through Sunday, July 10th at the Indian Fort Theater in Berea. For more details, visit www.visitberea.com. Kirksville Community Center is having their Christmas in July craft show from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, July the 9th. Call 6690 or the Kirksville Community Center's Facebook page for more information. And then also Madison County Courthouse and its related offices will be closed on Monday, July 4th from Independence Day holiday. Offices will reopen on Tuesday, July the 5th at 8 a.m. Thank you all. Comments from magistrates? John, how about you today?
All right. Judges don't have much, gotta have a long, meeting here today. I just want to announce that the, Richmond Arts Center is having an Independence musical celebration at First Baptist Church, 7 o'clock on, Friday, July the 1st, so it's free to the public. It'll be cool inside, even if it's raining, it'll be indoors, so go out there and enjoy some, music from the Richmond Arts Center and some, really special musicians that, play in there.
And also, John, to that, if anybody would like to participate and sing in the choir, they can, and there's practice tonight at 6 o'clock.
You're not going to practice?
I am, yeah. I'm singing in the choir, yeah. Randy called me and asked me.
Okay.
So anybody would like to, they can.
Wow. Congratulations.
Not only are you a runner, but you're a singer too.
No, they give me a bunch of looks.
He's lip syncing the whole time.
Yeah,
And
banana.
I always do a above and beyond, so with Bert being recognized today, he gets my above and beyond for his work with the county. Thank you, Bert.
Thank you. Works for us.
Thanks, John.
That's it.
Roger.
Haven't got anything, but I know one thing, you're gonna find out how fast you can run when you get home.
It's funny.
He didn't have to run fast, he just has to run faster than the rolling pins.
That's right.
Ben.
Hey, glad to be back, to be totally honest. 2 weeks ago, I was not here because I contracted COVID. And I told Judge I didn't think that he wanted me up here since I was still hot as a pistol and with COVID, but I'm totally fine. I've tested negative now twice, and I'm glad to be back and glad to be doing my part to help in the work of the county. I wanted to give a shout out to Glenn and her staff for putting together what I think is a great budget. I know it's always challenging, and I understand that there are lots of hours and lots of work that goes into it, and I can tell you that I appreciate it, and I know that everybody else up here does as well. When we look at the budget, yes, there are some good guys in there that we're going to have upcoming for a couple fiscal years that will soon go away, that will provide some challenges and headwinds for the county that we need to start thinking about now. The other thing I wanted to also thank Scott and his crew for getting the Barker Lane East Bridge, up and going. It looks great. Thank you all, and Tom, thanks for bringing it to my attention and working with me on that to get that done. So thank you. The other thing is, for those that are watching this, I'm going to give another shout out that Chris did as well about the Madison Connect. Go do it. I did it while we were in the meeting. It took roughly 2 minutes. So my information is in there, and I strongly suggest that everybody else do it as well, because I can tell you that, as a county, there are portions that are definitely underserved, and, go out and do that survey, and let's get you the high-speed internet that you need, whether it's for your school kids, whether it's for your Zoom meetings that you have, through your work and all that stuff. So please do it. It's easy, it's simple, it's nothing contractual related. It helps us gather good information on where we are, from a broadband perspective. So thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
That's it. Yep.
Tom.
Just a couple of things, Judge. I was on vacation last week, and it's amazing how much things can get accomplished while you're on vacation. The telephone still rings, and you still have to make calls, but I wanted to thank Brandon and the State Road Department. Made some calls to them last week. They got out and put some millings out at the Twin Lakes subdivision entrance out there. It's really bad, and they took care of that. They were supposed to be going today to clear some line of sight down on Highway 52 on Indian Mound Road, and to do that, they were going to have to pull their slope mower off of 595. They've been down there most of the week, and that happens. So, if you live on 595, they're coming back, but they pull equipment. It's the only one they have to do that. They'll be sending them back to finish up down there. So just be patient with those folks. There's been requests for signs through the state on Highway 52. A lot of them get knocked down, run over, stole, whatever it is, and there's a bunch missing on Highway 52. Going down toward Paint Lick, those requests have been put in for that. There's also a really bad dip on the road on Highway 52 right in front of Kirksville School. And Brenda said that it hasn't been taken care of yet simply because they're limiting their spending due to the end of the year. Starting next month, hopefully the next couple of weeks, they'll get back out there to do some patching on that and fill that out and make that a lot safer place. We're still pending on Blacktop, Judge, out on Cal East between Duncannon and 52 as well. So, you know, hopefully we'll see that in the next couple of months. Brandon has also patched, and there may have been some other factors involved in that. But anyway, they've for the time being have patched the Fort Estill Hill. The bridge there, it's a concrete bridge, and they go out and they put blacktop in it, but unfortunately, it won't stay. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time. We'll start getting calls again because it just wears itself out. They're trying to get a contract to resurface that, and hopefully we'll see that through the summer if they can get that bridge resurfaced out there. They're still working on the contract to get the bridge down at Silver Creek on Highway 52 cleaned out. He had actually gone as far as asking for permission to take a backhoe down here. It says the water's down low right now to get in. No go. They can't put backhoes in the creek. So they're going to have to wait on the crane to come down there to clean that bridge out. So I know that's been an all summer project and it's still going on, but hopefully they'll be able to get that before long. I want to thank Scott Shepard and our road department for the work they've done out on Wallace Mill Road. We've got some pending projects out on Bucket Town, Joe Jones. I've worked with First District in our doing, with Ben. I had a senior moment there for a second. I got to thinking about the judge's wife chasing him across that park. Them rolling pins. I lost it for a second. I'm sorry. But we've been worked with Ben there for several projects out in the Indian Hills area. These are some ongoing, been a couple of months things that are going to be getting resolved here pretty soon. I want to thank Scott and them for their work out in Idlewild subdivision. They went out there and took care of some work for a gentleman named Mr. Campbell. He done a great job out there. He's happier than a pig in slop. And they've done some work out on North Dogwood, also First District, and we certainly appreciate that, Scott, you guys, man. We thank all of you out there. Judge, my telephone rings all the time. You can reach me anytime, day or night, vacation, on vacation, 200-9765.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Kenny, you got anything? Jimmy?
Yes, sir.
Steve? Sheriff? No, sir. All right. Department heads. If Chris Israel walked back in this, I'd throw a rolling pin at him.
I wanted to mention something else. Chris did a lot of talking, but there's a guy behind the scenes back there, Ryan,
Yeah.
that needs to be appreciated as well.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, that's right. They're a good team. Comments from the audience? Blake, you're the only one left.
Tiny crisis with a pissed off source. It's fine. No comments. Y'all did great.
I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Robinson? Yes. Master Barter?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Remember, everybody, our next meeting is July 12th, 2022. That will be in Berea. It's the first meeting of every odd month. We go to Berea. So July 12th, 2022, we'll be back in Berea City Hall chambers there at 9:30 in the morning. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Master Barter?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Robinson? Yes. Judge Taylor?
Yes.